I never thought a single sentence could erase years of hope. Yet there I was, standing in the middle of the little cafe we had chosen for our lunch, smiling through the pain, hearing Ava say, "You're not my future. You're just fun." The words weren't loud, but they rang in my ears like a bell I couldn't stop. My chest tightened, my palms got clammy, and yet, I didn't argue. I just smiled, paid the bill, and walked out, leaving her staring, maybe hoping for an argument, maybe hoping for me to beg. But I didn't. I had always known Zoe had a way of charming a room, a way of making people think she could only ever belong to herself. And I had loved her for her independence, her sparkle, the way she laughed at stupid jokes and made every day feel like a story worth telling. But now, standing outside, the cold December air biting at my cheeks, I realized that charm could hurt just as much as it could captivate. I walked to my car, letting the city noises fill the silence between my thoughts. I kept replaying her words, "Just fun." Did I really deserve to be minimized like that? Could I really let someone define my worth in such a casual dismissal? My mind wandered through every argument I had swallowed, every time I had held back my feelings for the sake of peace. And yet, my heart, stubborn and loyal, still ached in that cold street. As I drove home that evening, I passed our favorite park. It was empty, the swings swaying slightly in the winter breeze. I thought of all the plans I had once whispered into her ear. The trips, the cozy apartment with mismatched furniture, the lazy Sunday mornings with coffee and shared newspapers. All those dreams seemed to crumble with a single line. And yet, deep inside, a quiet thought emerged. Maybe this was not the end. Maybe endings were just beginnings in disguise. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit like to help it reach more people who might relate to Ava and Leo's journey. I spent the next few days in quiet reflection. Friends called, and I tried to distract myself with work, with books, with music that reminded me of simpler, happier times. But every notification on my phone made me flinch. Every familiar ringtone sounded like it could be her, even though I knew better. And then, one chilly evening, as I was locking my front door, there she was, standing there, rain dripping from her dark curls, holding a small velvet box in her hands, her eyes glistening with tears. "Leo, I messed up," she said, voice cracking. "I didn't mean what I said. Please, can we?" Her words faltered, her hands shaking, and the ring box slipped slightly, revealing the glint of gold inside. My heart thudded, but this time, it wasn't with longing or hope. It was steady, deliberate. I had imagined this moment countless times, always expecting to feel the same rush I used to when she smiled at me in those first weeks. But this time, I didn't feel that. Instead, I felt clarity. Comment below and share what you would do if someone rejected your proposal in public like Leo experienced. Let's discuss. She looked up at me, her lips trembling. "I know I hurt you. I was scared, selfish. I've realized now that I want you, Leo. I want us. Will you take me back?" I studied her face, searching for sincerity, searching for the girl I once knew. And yes, I saw her vulnerability, but I also saw the same indecision, the same fear. She wanted a fairy tale, but she had treated me as if I were disposable. I knelt down, gently taking the box from her hands. The ring glittered under the porch light, innocent and small, like a symbol of all she hadn't considered when she rejected me. I smiled faintly, a slow, deliberate curve of lips that held more weight than any words could convey. "You know, Ava, I don't think you're ready for a future, but I have a better idea." I opened my hand, not for the ring, but to reveal a note I had been carrying for weeks. A plan, a possibility, a promise to myself. Type the word respect in the comments if you think Leo handled the situation with patience and dignity. Let's see who relates. I handed the note to her. She looked at it, confusion flickering across her eyes. "What's this?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I let the silence linger, heavy, teaching, reflective. Her fingers hovered over the paper as if touching it could unlock some magical understanding. And in that moment, I realized something I hadn't admitted before. Love isn't just giving your heart. It's knowing when to protect it, when to step back, when to let actions teach lessons words never could. Share this story with someone who needs to understand the power of self-respect and patience in love. A simple share can inspire them too. The rain began to fall harder, the droplets mingling with her tears. I stood tall, letting the world move around us, letting her words sink into the cold night. There was no rush, no panic, no pleading. She had asked for a second chance, but I wasn't giving it in the way she expected. This wasn't about revenge, nor was it about proving a point to strangers or friends. This was about clarity, boundaries, and the slow, quiet art of regaining control over your own heart. Comment below with one word that describes how Leo feels in this moment. Betrayed, powerful, calm? Let's see which word resonates most with the story's emotion. Ava looked up at me, the raindrops streaking her flushed cheeks, confusion and hope dancing in her eyes. I let her absorb the night, the quiet, the weight of her own choices. Then I spoke, softly, deliberately. You can have the fairy tale, Ava, but it won't be with me. Not like this. Not while respect is still something you negotiate with fear. Her lips parted, as if to argue, but no words came. She realized, slowly, that this wasn't anger. It wasn't bitterness. It was clarity, the kind that changes everything without shouting. Weeks passed. I stayed true to my own promise. Boundaries, self-respect, and patience. Life didn't pause. Work consumed my mornings. My evenings were spent with friends, late-night walks, and books that hadn't been read in months. And then came the unexpected. Ava, standing again at my door, soaked from the rain, her hands trembling as she held a bouquet of lilies this time. No ring, just sincerity in her eyes. Leo, I've been an idiot, she whispered, voice cracking. I've realized. I pushed away what mattered. I want to fix this if you'll let me. I took a deep breath, watching her carefully, feeling the echo of every time she had dismissed me, every public humiliation, every casual rejection. I smiled faintly, letting the corners of my mouth curl. Not in triumph, not in revenge, but in quiet power. You've realized, yes, I said, but I'm not giving you the chance you want. I'm giving you the chance I choose. There's a difference. She looked puzzled. I handed her a small envelope. Inside were 2 tickets. One to a weekend retreat she had always wanted, but this time I wasn't the one who would plan it. This time, it was her opportunity to show commitment, patience, and sincerity. If you really want this, you'll prove it, I said. Her shoulders slumped, but determination sparked in her eyes. Comment your thoughts on how Leo handled Ava's second attempt, and don't forget to subscribe to see more stories where choices and respect define the outcome. Over the next few days, Ava kept her word. She called, texted, and arrived on time for every meeting and small gesture we had agreed upon. Slowly, I began to see her efforts, not as apologies to manipulate, but as steps toward understanding what she had almost lost. And in this, there was growth for both of us. I realized something important about love. It isn't just about passion or fun. It's about consistency, respect, and the courage to confront your own mistakes. It's about showing up, even when fear tells you to run. And Ava had learned that, not because I demanded it, but because the consequences of her choices had become tangible and undeniable. One evening, sitting on my balcony with the city lights reflecting in her eyes, she looked at me, silent. I could see vulnerability and resolve mixed together, a rare human combination. I reached for her hand, letting her take it without hesitation. No grand gestures, no dramatic confessions. Just acknowledgement of the path she had chosen and the trust she had rebuilt. Comment below. Do you think Leo did the right thing by giving Ava a chance on his terms? Let's have a discussion about boundaries and love. That weekend retreat arrived, and it was a revelation. Ava showed care, planning, and thoughtfulness that mirrored the sincerity I had longed for. Watching her interact, seeing her prioritize respect and patience, I realized that sometimes people aren't ready for the love they think they want. But when they are, the transformation is beautiful, grounded, and lasting. It wasn't about victory. It wasn't about proving a point to the world. It was about mutual understanding, the quiet kind of triumph that feels like breathing after being underwater for too long. Ava had come back, yes, but she had done it in a way that acknowledged my value, my time, and my heart. And that made all the difference. Share this story with someone who might need to learn that self-respect and boundaries are as important in love as passion and fun. Professional wisdom in relationships is always worth spreading. By the end of it all, I realized that love isn't about chasing someone who isn't ready, nor is it about letting go too soon. It's about timing, boundaries, and knowing when to stand firm. Ava had once dismissed me with a single line, but she had returned with understanding, growth, and a willingness to meet me halfway. We laughed that night, quietly, under the dim lights of the retreat cabin. Not because everything was perfect, but because we had survived the test of patience, of respect, and of the lessons life had handed us. And for the first time in a long while, love didn't feel complicated. It felt intentional, chosen, and real. Comment below with one word that captures how you feel about the ending. Empowered? Hopeful? Relieved? Let's talk about it. As Ava held my hand, I smiled, knowing that the real gift wasn't the ring, nor the proposal, nor even the reunion. It was the lesson we had both learned. Love, respect, and patience are the foundation. Everything else is just frosting. And in that quiet moment, I knew this story wouldn't just stay with us. It would reach others, those who had been hurt, those who had been dismissed, those who had been waiting for clarity. It was a story of boundaries, of self-respect, and the courage to walk away so that someone could walk back in the right way. Like this story, comment your favorite moment, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that show the power of respect, choice, and emotional intelligence in relationships.